Alex Carter sat in his office on the 52nd floor of New Terra Station, staring at the golden invitation in his hands. The words seemed to mock him with every glance. Annual Galactic Business Excellence Gala, the biggest event of the year, where every important person in the galaxy would gather to show off their success. He crumpled the invitation and threw it across the room. It bounced off the wall and landed near his desk. The problem was not the gala itself. Alex loved big parties and meeting important people. The problem was her. Zarth would be there. His ex-girlfriend was not just any ordinary ex. Zarth was a Zentarian, one of the most beautiful and intelligent species in the galaxy. She had skin that looked like it was made of silver and eyes that changed color with her emotions. When they dated 2 years ago, Alex thought he was the luckiest human alive. Then she left him for someone more successful. Now she was the CEO of Stellar Mining Corporation, the biggest mining company in 3-star systems. Last month, the Galactic News showed pictures of her with Commander Vexstar, a war hero from the Andromedan Fleet. They looked perfect together, and everyone said they were planning to get married soon. Alex picked up the invitation and smoothed it out. He could not skip the gala. His company, Carter Industries, was being honored for their work on terraforming new planets. If he did not show up, people would think something was wrong with his business. But he also could not face Zareth alone. She would see that he came by himself and know that he was still the same lonely man she left behind. He needed a date. Not just any date, but someone who would make Zareth jealous. Someone beautiful and smart who would make it look like Alex had moved on to better things. The problem was that Alex did not have time to find the right person. The gala was in 3 days. All the women he knew were either busy, not interested, or already going with someone else. He had asked his assistant to help, but she just laughed and said, "He should have thought about this weeks ago." Alex walked to his window and looked down at the busy streets of New Terra Station. Thousands of humans and aliens walked around, going about their daily lives. Ships came and went from the docking bays, carrying people to distant worlds. This was the center of human civilization in space, and Alex was one of the most successful people here. So why did he feel so empty? His stomach growled, reminding him that he had not eaten lunch. Alex decided to go downstairs to the coffee shop in the lobby. Maybe the caffeine would help him think of a solution to his problem. The elevator ride down seemed to take forever. When the doors finally opened, Alex walked across the marble lobby toward the small coffee shop in the corner. The place was called Stellar Brews, and it served coffee from different planets across the galaxy. Alex had been coming here almost every day for 2 years, but he never paid much attention to the people who worked there. Today was different. As he approached the counter, he noticed the woman behind it was reading a book while waiting for customers. The book looked thick and complicated, with symbols and equations on the cover that Alex did not recognize. The woman had brown hair pulled back in a simple ponytail and wore a plain uniform. She looked up when she heard him coming. "The usual. Mr. Carter?" she asked with a small smile. Her voice was soft but clear. Alex was surprised that she knew his order. He had never really looked at her before, but now he could see that she had intelligent green eyes and a kind face. She was not as flashy as the women he usually dated, but there was something interesting about her. "Actually," Alex said, making a decision that surprised even him, "I was wondering if I could talk to you about something. What's your name?" Maya Brooks." She set down her book and gave him her full attention. "Is something wrong with your coffee? I can make a fresh pot." "No, the coffee is fine. This is about something else entirely." Alex looked around to make sure no one else could hear them. The lobby was busy, but most people were focused on their own business. "This might sound crazy, but I have a proposition for you." Maya raised an eyebrow. "What kind of proposition?" Alex felt stupid even thinking about asking, but he was desperate. "I need a date for a business party. It's this Saturday night, very fancy, very important. I would pay you for your time, of course." Maya stared at him for a long moment. Alex could see her thinking, weighing the offer in her mind. He expected her to say no immediately. Who would want to pretend to be his girlfriend for money? How? Much are we talking about? Maya asked quietly. 50,000 credits. The number came out of Alex's mouth before he could stop himself. It was way too much money for one evening, but he was desperate enough to pay it. Maya's eyes widened. She put down the cloth she had been using to clean the counter and looked at him seriously. 50,000 credits for one night? It's a very important party. Lots of aliens, lots of important business people. You would need to dress up and act like we're dating. Nothing inappropriate, just holding hands and making conversation. The party is on a luxury ship, very high class. Maya was quiet for another moment. Alex could see her thinking hard about the offer. Finally, she spoke. Why me? You must know lots of women who would love to go to a fancy party with you. Alex realized he did not have a good answer for that question. The truth was that he had. Picked Maya because she seemed safe and ordinary. Someone who would not cause problems or ask too many questions. But he could not say that. You seem nice, he said instead. And smart. I noticed you reading that book. Most people I know don't read books like that. Maya glanced down at her book and then back at Alex. You might want to brief me on who exactly will be at this party. I would hate to embarrass you by not knowing the right people. The way she said it made Alex think that Maya might be more prepared for a high-class party than he expected. There was something in her voice that suggested she knew more about important people than a coffee shop worker should. So you'll do it? Alex asked, hardly believing his luck. Maya nodded slowly. I'll do it, but I want half the money up front. And I want to know exactly what I'm getting into. This isn't just any business party, is it? Alex smiled for the first time in days. No, it's not just any party. It's the biggest party in the galaxy. The next morning, Alex waited outside Maya's apartment building on level 37. He had transferred 25,000 credits to her account the night before, and now he was having second thoughts. What if she changed her mind? What if she took the money and disappeared? His worries vanished when Maya walked out of the building. She looked different outside of her coffee shop uniform. She wore simple black pants and a white shirt, but something about the way she carried herself made her seem more confident. Her hair was down, and Alex noticed for the first time that she was actually quite pretty. Ready for shopping? Maya asked as she got into his hover car. I thought we should start with clothes, Alex said, starting the engine. The party is formal, so you'll need an evening dress. Something that looks expensive. Maya nodded and looked out the window as they flew through the traffic lanes between the tall buildings. Tell me about the guest list. Who should I know? Alex was impressed that she was taking this seriously. Well, there will be ambassadors from most of the major alien species. The Zentarian trade delegation will be there, obviously. Some military, leaders from the Andromedan fleet, business owners from across the galaxy. What about the Crystalline Collective? Will they send anyone? Alex glanced at Maya in surprise. Most humans had never heard of the Crystalline Collective. They were a mysterious species that rarely interacted with others. I think so. Why do you ask? Just curious, Maya said. I've read about them. Their energy-based communication system is fascinating. They landed at Cosmic Elegance, one of the most expensive clothing stores on New Terra Station. Alex had shopped here before when he needed to impress people. The prices were ridiculous, but the quality was perfect. The store was run by a Rigelian woman named Kessara. She had blue skin and silver hair, and she spoke with a musical accent that made everything sound like poetry. When she saw Alex walk in with Maya, her face lit up. Mr. Carter, so good to see you again. And who is this lovely lady? This is Maya. She needs a dress for the Galactic Business Excellence Gala. Tessara's eyes grew wide. The gala. Oh, we must find something perfect. She looked Maya up and down with a professional eye. You have beautiful bone structure. I have just the thing. As Kessar led them through the store, she chattered about different styles and fabrics. Most of what she said was in Standard Galactic, but occasionally she switched to her native Rigelian language when she got excited about a particular dress. Alex was surprised when Maya responded to one of these comments in fluent Rigelian. The words rolled off her tongue like she had been speaking the language her whole life. Kessar stopped walking and stared at Maya. "You speak our language. How wonderful!" So few humans take the time to learn proper Rigelian. "I've had time to study," Maya said simply. Alex felt confused. Learning alien languages was not easy. It usually took years of study and expensive tutors. How did a coffee shop worker know Rigelian? They spent the next hour trying on different dresses. Maya looked good in everything, but when she put on a deep blue dress that seemed to shimmer like starlight, even Alex had to admit she looked stunning. The dress fit her perfectly and made her green eyes look even brighter. "This one," Kessara said firmly. "It's perfect for you." While Kessara was making alterations to the dress, Alex and Maya sat in the waiting area. Alex decided to ask the question that had been bothering him. "Where did you learn to speak Rigelian?" Maya looked up from the magazine she was reading. "I told you. I've had time to study. I'm good with languages." "That's not just being good with languages. That's years of practice. And you knew about the Crystalline Collective. Most people have never heard of them." Maya was quiet for a moment. "I read a lot, Alex. I'm curious about the galaxy we live in. Is that so strange?" Before Alex could answer, Kessar came back with the dress. "All finished." "Maya, you're going to be the most beautiful woman at the gala." As they left the store, Alex's mind was full of questions. There was more to Maya than she was letting on, but he could not figure out what it was. Their next stop was a salon for hair and makeup. The stylist was a human woman named Lisa, who had worked with many of the wealthy families on New Terra Station. She took one look at Maya and smiled. "Oh, this will be fun. You have such classic features." "I'm thinking elegant, but not overdone." While Lisa worked on Maya's hair, Alex sat nearby and tried to make conversation. "So what do you do when you're not working at the coffee shop?" "I read mostly, study. I have a brother who needs medical care, so I work to pay for his treatments." "What kind of medical care?" Maya hesitated. "He was injured in an accident. The treatments are expensive, but they're helping him get better." Alex felt guilty about his earlier thoughts. Maya was not taking his money to buy fancy things for herself. She was using it to help her family. That made him respect her more. "What do you study?" he asked. "Different things. Science, mostly. Physics, chemistry, biology. I find it interesting how different species have evolved different solutions too." "The same problems?" Lisa looked up from Maya's hair. "You sound like a scientist." Maya laughed. "Not really. Just someone who likes to learn." But Alex was starting to think there was more to it than that. The way Maya talked about science was not like someone who just read books as a hobby. She spoke with the confidence of someone who really understood complex ideas. When Lisa finished with Maya's hair and makeup, the transformation was complete. Maya looked like she belonged at the most exclusive parties in the galaxy. But it was not just the clothes and makeup. Something about her whole presence had changed. She carried herself like someone who is used to being around important people. "You look amazing," Alex said, and he meant it. Maya looked at herself in the mirror and smiled. "Thank you. I think I'm ready for your gala." As they left the salon, Alex realized that he was no longer worried about Maya embarrassing him at the party. His new worry was that she might be too impressive. People might start asking questions about who she really was, and Alex was beginning to suspect that he did not know the answer to that question himself. "Maya," he said as they got back into his hover car, "is there anything else I should know about you before we go to this party?" Maya looked at him with those intelligent green eyes. "Everyone has secrets, Alex. The question is whether those secrets matter for what we're trying to do." Alex decided that whatever Maya's secrets were, He would find out soon enough. Right now, he just hoped he was ready for the answers. The luxury starship Celestial Crown was the most beautiful ship Alex had ever seen. It floated in space like a giant crystal, with lights that changed colors as it slowly rotated. Ships from across the galaxy were docked around it, bringing the most important people in known space to the annual Gala. Alex adjusted his formal jacket as their shuttle approached the docking bay. He looked over at Maya, who sat calmly beside him. She looked perfect in her blue dress, but Alex was nervous. This was his chance to show Zareth that he had moved on, but what if something went wrong? Relax, Maya said, noticing his fidgeting. You look like you're going to be sick. I just want this to go well, Alex said. There will be reporters there, and business partners. If we mess this up, it could hurt my company. Maya smiled. We won't mess this up. Just follow my lead if things get complicated. Alex found it strange that Maya was the one telling him to relax. She was just a coffee shop worker who had never been to anything like this before. But something about her confidence made him feel better. The shuttle docked with a soft bump, and the doors opened. Alex and Maya walked through a tunnel that led to the main reception area of the ship. The room was enormous, with a ceiling that showed the stars outside. Beings from dozens of different species mingled together, talking and laughing while servers offered drinks and food from across the galaxy. Alex recognized many of the faces from news reports and business meetings. There was Ambassador Thale. From the Corvin Republic, his green skin gleaming under the lights. Near the bar stood Captain Nexus of the Ethereal Collective, his energy form barely contained in a humanoid shape. At the center of it all was the reason for the party, Admiral Voss, who was retiring after 50 years of keeping peace between the species. Impressive, Maya said, looking around at the crowd. I count representatives from at least 20 different species. The diplomatic coordination alone must have taken months. Alex stared at her. How did she know so much about diplomatic coordination? Before he could ask, a familiar voice called his name. Alex turned and saw exactly the person he had been dreading to meet. Zareth approached them with her usual confidence. Walk! She looked stunning, as always. Her silver skin seemed to glow, and her eyes had shifted to a deep purple color that Alex remembered meant she was curious about something. Beside her walked Commander Vextar, tall and imposing in his military uniform. Alex, Zareth said, her voice carrying the musical quality that all Zentarians had. How lovely to see you here. And who is this charming companion? Alex felt his mouth go dry, but Maya stepped forward smoothly. I'm Maya Brooks, she said, extending her hand to Zareth. It's an honor to meet you. Your work with the Stellar Mining Corporation has been impressive, especially your solution to the asteroid belt crisis in the Vega system. Zareth's eyes widened slightly. Not many people knew about the Vega situation, and even fewer understood the technical details of how it had been solved. Thank you, Zareth said, shaking Maya's hand. You seem to be well informed about galactic business. I try to stay current, Maya said simply. Commander Vextar stepped forward. His species, the Andromedans, were known for being direct and sometimes rude. And what do you do, Miss Brooks? I work in the service industry, Maya said. But I have many interests. Alex expected Vextar to make some comment about humans and their simple jobs, but before he could speak, Ambassador Thale approached their group. Excuse me, the Corvin said, his translator device making his words sound mechanical. I could not help but overhear. Miss Brooks, did you say you were familiar with the Vega asteroid situation? Somewhat, Maya said. It was a fascinating problem. The gravitational interactions between the three moons created an unstable orbit, pattern that threatened the mining operations. Exactly. Ambassador Thale's skin changed to a brighter green, which Alex knew meant excitement. My people have been struggling with a similar issue in the Tau Ceti system. The standard solutions have not worked. Maya nodded thoughtfully. The Tau Ceti system has different stellar conditions. You would need to account for the solar wind variations and the magnetic field fluctuations. Have you tried using a synchronized orbital adjustment rather than individual corrections? Ambassador Theo stared at Maya. That could actually work. The energy requirements would be much lower than our current approach. Alex felt confused. Maya was talking about complex space engineering, like she had been doing it her whole life. This was not the kind of knowledge someone learned from reading books in their spare time. Zareth was watching, Maya with obvious interest. Miss Brooks, you seem to have quite a background in orbital mechanics. Where did you study? Here and there, Maya said vaguely. I've always been curious about how things work. Before anyone could ask more questions, a musical tone filled the room. The ship's captain announced that dinner would be served in the main dining hall. The crowd began to move toward the large doors at the far end of the reception area. As they walked, Alex noticed that Maya was attracting attention from other guests. A delegate from the Rigelian Trade Union approached her to ask about interstellar shipping routes. A scientist from the Quantum Research Institute wanted to discuss her thoughts on dimensional fold technology. Each time, Maya answered with knowledge. That seemed impossible for someone with her background. How do you know all this stuff? Alex whispered to her as they found their assigned table. I told you, I read a lot, Maya whispered back. And I pay attention to what's happening in the galaxy. Their dinner table was near the front of the room, close to where the evening speakers would present. Alex recognized several of the other guests at their table, including Dr. Kane from the Terran Science Council and Lady Vera from the Centauri Banking Consortium. During dinner, the conversation flowed easily. Maya seemed to know something about everyone's work and interests. She discussed trade regulations with Lady Vera, debated terraforming techniques with Dr. Kane, and even made Commander Vexstar laugh with a story about human military tactics. Alex watched in amazement as his fake date impressed everyone at the table. Even Zareth seemed interested in what Maya had to say. This was not going the way Alex had planned. He had wanted to make Zareth jealous, but instead, Maya was making everyone forget that Alex was even there. The most surprising moment came when Captain Nexus of the Ethereal Collective approached their table. The energy being rarely spoke to anyone, but he seemed drawn to Maya. Miss Brooks, he said, his voice sounding like whispers in the wind. Your thoughts on consciousness and artificial intelligence intrigue me. Few beings understand the complexity of non-biological intelligence. Maya smiled. Consciousness is consciousness, regardless of its form. The important thing is recognizing intelligence when we encounter it, even if it's different from our own. Captain. Nexus flickered with what Alex assumed was approval. Wisdom beyond your years, young human. As the evening continued, Alex realized that his plan had completely backfired. Maya was not just impressing people. She was outshining everyone in the room, including him. People were starting to ask who she was and where she came from. Soon, someone would start digging into her background, and Alex had no idea what they would find. But as he watched Maya handle every conversation with grace and intelligence, Alex found that he did not care about his original plan anymore. He was starting to care about Maya herself, and he was becoming very curious about who she really was. After dinner, the lights in the main hall dimmed, and a spotlight appeared on the stage at the front of the room. Admiral Voss walked to the microphone, his old but strong voice carrying across the silent crowd. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored beings, he began. Tonight we celebrate not just my retirement, but the amazing technology that keeps our galaxy connected and peaceful. We have asked several of our guests to share their latest innovations with us. Alex felt his stomach tighten. He had forgotten about the technology presentations. Every year, different companies and organizations showed off their newest inventions. It was supposed to be inspiring, but Alex always found it boring. Tonight, however, he was worried about what Maya might say if someone asked her opinion about the presentations. The first speaker was Dr. Kane from the Terran Science Council. He talked about new medical treatments that could help humans live longer in space. The presentation was interesting, but Alex noticed that Maya was taking notes on her napkin. She seemed to be writing down improvements to Dr. Kane's ideas. Next came a representative from the Corvin Republic who demonstrated a new type of energy shield. The technology was impressive, but Alex could see Maya shaking her head slightly, as if she disagreed with something. Then Zarv took the stage. She looked confident and beautiful as she activated a holographic display showing her company's latest creation. "This is the Mark 7 mining drone," she announced. "It can work in the most dangerous environments in space, from the heat of solar flares to the cold of deep space. It's twice as fast as our previous model and can carry 3 times more material." The crowd applauded politely. The drone was impressive, but mining equipment was not the most exciting topic for most people. Alex expected the presentation to end there, but Zareth continued. "We believe this technology represents the future of resource gathering across the galaxy. No other company has been able to match our efficiency or safety record." Alex noticed Maya writing more notes. Her expression suggested she was not entirely impressed with what she was seeing. After a few more presentations, Admiral Voss returned to the stage. "Before we conclude this evening, I would like to invite anyone who has thoughts or questions about what we've seen to join the discussion." Alex felt panic rising in his chest. This was exactly what he had been afraid of. Maya had been quiet during the presentations, but he could tell she had opinions about everything they had seen. To his surprise, Commander Vextar stood up from his table. "I have a question for the audience," he said in his deep voice. "Earlier this evening, I had a fascinating conversation with Miss Maya Brooks about some improvements to our warp drive systems. Miss Brooks, would you mind sharing your thoughts with everyone?" Alex felt like he was going to faint. Every eye in the room turned toward their table. Maya looked calm, but Alex could see her thinking quickly. "I wouldn't want to take up everyone's time," Maya said politely. "Please," said Captain Nexus, his energy form flickering with interest. "I too found your insights quite remarkable." Admiral Voss smiled. "It seems we have a popular speaker. Miss Brooks, would you join us on stage?" Maya looked at Alex, who nodded. "Weakly, what else could he do?" She stood up gracefully and walked to the stage. Alex watched her move with the same confidence she had shown all evening. "Thank you," Maya said as she reached the microphone. "I'm honored to be here with so many brilliant minds." She paused and looked out at the crowd. Alex could see her making a decision about something. "I've been listening to the presentations tonight, and I'm impressed by the innovation and dedication I've seen. But I think we might be missing some opportunities to work together in new ways." Maya gestured to the holographic display that was still showing Zarv as mining drone. "Take this beautiful piece of engineering, for example. It's clearly well designed for its purpose. But what if we combined it with the energy shield technology we saw earlier? The drone could work in even more dangerous environments." Ambassador Thale leaned forward in his seat. "An interesting idea, but the power requirements would be enormous." Maya smiled. "Not if we used a modified version of the Andromedan warp drive energy distribution system. Commander Vextar, you mentioned earlier that your engineers have been working on making the system more efficient. If we applied that same principle to mining equipment, we could reduce power consumption by at least 40%. Commander Vextar's eyes widened. That could actually work. The harmonic resonance patterns would need to be adjusted, but the basic concept is sound, Maya nodded. Exactly, and that's just one example. Dr. Kane's medical technology could be enhanced with crystalline collective energy healing principles. The Corvin Republic's terraforming methods could be improved with human intuitive problem-solving approaches. She moved away from the podium and began walking across the stage, her confidence growing with each word. The thing about humans, she continued, is that we're good at seeing connections that others might miss. We don't just look at problems in isolation. We look at how everything fits together. Lady Vera from the Centauri Banking Consortium called out from the audience. That's a beautiful theory, Miss Brooks, But do you have any practical examples? Maya stopped walking and smiled. As it happens, I do. She moved to the holographic display and began manipulating the controls. Alex had no idea how she knew how to use the advanced alien technology, but she seemed completely comfortable with it. The Quantari Federation has been trying to solve a mathematical problem for decades, Maya said as she brought up a complex equation in the air above the stage. It involves calculating the optimal trajectory for ships traveling between dimensions. The problem is that the mathematics get incredibly complicated when you factor in gravitational effects from multiple star systems. The crowd was completely silent now. Even Alex, who didn't understand most of what Maya was saying, could tell that this was important. Maya began working with the equation, moving symbols and numbers around in the air. The solution isn't to make the math more complex. It's to simplify it by recognizing patterns. She continued working for several minutes, her fingers dancing through the holographic numbers. Alex watched in amazement as the complicated equation began to resolve into something simpler. There, Maya said finally. The solution is to use a recursive algorithm that accounts for gravitational fluctuations in real time, rather than trying to predict them in advance. The room erupted in surprise. Voices. Alex could see several of the alien delegates frantically taking notes or speaking into their communication devices. Dr. Solara from the Quantari Federation stood up, her crystalline form shimmering with excitement. Miss Brooks, my people have been working on this problem for 30 years. You just solved it in 10 minutes. How is this possible? Maya shrugged. Sometimes you need fresh eyes to see old problems in new ways. Captain Nexus floated closer to the stage. Miss Brooks, I must ask, what is your background? This level of insight is extraordinary. Maya looked out at the crowd of expectant faces. Alex could see her debating what to say. Finally, she spoke. I'm just someone who likes to solve problems, she said. The universe is full of puzzles, and I find them interesting. As Maya walked back to her seat, the entire room broke into applause. Alex sat there in shock, watching hundreds of the most important beings in the galaxy give his fake date a standing ovation. He realized that his plan to make Zarv jealous had succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. But now he had a much bigger problem. Everyone in the room wanted to know who Maya Brooks really was, and Alex was starting to suspect that the answer would change everything. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of congratulations and requests for private meetings. Everyone wanted to talk to Maya. Dr. Solar from the Quantari Federation offered her a research position. Ambassador Thale wanted to hire her as a consultant for his government. Even Captain Nexus asked if she would consider working with the ethereal collective. Maya handled every conversation with grace, but Alex could see that she was getting tired of the attention. She politely declined most of the offers, saying she needed time to think about her future. As the gala finally came to an end, Alex and Maya found themselves alone on one of the ship's observation decks. Through the huge windows, they could see the stars and the busy traffic of ships heading back to their home worlds. We need to talk, Alex said, his voice more serious than Maya had ever heard it. Maya nodded and sat down on one of the benches, facing the window. I know. Who are you really? Alex asked, sitting beside her. And don't tell me you're just someone who reads a lot. What you did in there tonight was impossible for a regular person. Maya was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the stars. Alex could see her struggling with something, like she was trying to decide how much to tell him. My real name is Dr. Maya Brooks, she said finally. I used to be the head of the Terran Science Consortium's Xenological Research Division. Alex felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. The Terran Science Consortium was the most important scientific organization in human space. The head of their alien research division would be one of the most respected scientists in the galaxy. Used to be? Alex asked. Maya laughed, but there was no humor in it. I was forced out 3 years ago. There was a scandal, and I became a political problem, so I disappeared. What kind of scandal? Maya stood up and walked closer to the window. I was doing research that my bosses thought was too dangerous. I was working on ways to combine human technology with alien science. The goal was to create new technologies that could help humanity compete better in the galactic community. Alex tried to process what she was telling him. That doesn't sound dangerous. That sounds useful. The problem was that my research was working too well, Maya said. I was developing technologies that could give humanity significant advantages over other species. Some people in the government thought that was too risky. They were afraid that other species would see us as a threat. So, they fired you? Worse than that. They accused me of sharing classified information with alien governments. They said I was a traitor who was putting humanity in danger. Maya's voice became bitter. It was all lies, but the accusations were enough to destroy my career. Alex stood up and walked over to where Maya was standing. But you weren't really sharing information, were you? Of course not. But I was working with alien scientists on joint projects. I believed that cooperation was better than competition. Apparently, that made me naive and dangerous. What happened after they forced you out? Maya smiled sadly. I tried to find another job, but no one would hire me. The accusations followed me everywhere. Eventually, I ran out of money and had to take whatever work I could find. That's how I ended up serving coffee in your building. Alex felt terrible. While he had been worrying about impressing his ex-girlfriend, Maya had been struggling just to survive. Why didn't you tell me who you were when I asked you to come to the gala? Would you have believed me? Maya asked. If a coffee shop worker told you she used to be one of the most important scientists in human space, would you have thought she was telling the truth or that she was crazy? Alex had to admit that he probably would have thought she was crazy. Besides, Maya continued, I needed the money. My brother really does need medical treatments, and they're expensive. 50,000 credits would pay for his care for the next 2 years. Your brother was really injured? Yes, but not in an accident like I told you. He was hurt during the investigation into my research. Some people thought he might know something about my work, so they questioned him aggressively. He tried to protect me, and they hurt him. Alex felt angry. That's horrible. How could they do that to an innocent person? Because they were scared, Maya said. Fear makes people do terrible things, even the good people. They stood in silence for a while, watching the ships move through space outside. Alex was trying to understand everything Maya had told him. The research you were doing, he said finally, is that why you knew so much about everything tonight? The math problem, the engineering solutions, all of it? Maya nodded. I never stopped working, Alex. Even after they forced me out, I kept researching. I just had to be more careful about it. I've been developing new theories about human potential in the galactic community. What kind of theories? Maya turned away from the window and looked at Alex directly. I think humans have abilities that other species don't fully understand yet. We're adaptable in ways that most aliens aren't. We can learn new languages quickly, understand different cultures, solve problems by making connections that others miss. Like what you did with the Quantari math problem? Exactly. That problem had been unsolved for 30 years because the Quantari were thinking about it in a very logical, systematic way. But humans don't always think systematically. Sometimes, we make intuitive leaps that turn out to be correct. Alex thought about everything he had seen that evening. Maya had impressed representatives from dozens of different species, not just with her knowledge, but with her ability to understand what each of them needed. You think humans are special, he said. I think every species is special in its own way, Maya said. But yes, I think humans have untapped potential that could benefit the entire galaxy. The problem is that most people, human and alien alike, don't want to take the risks necessary to explore that potential. What kind of risks? Maya walked back to the bench and sat down. Working together in new ways, sharing knowledge across species boundaries, trying things that have never been tried before. Tonight was a perfect example. I suggested combining technologies from 3 different species, and everyone could see that it would work. But actually doing it would require trust and cooperation that most governments aren't ready for. Alex sat down beside her again. Is that what your hidden research is about? Finding ways to make that cooperation work? Maya smiled for the first time since their conversation had started. Among other things, I've been working on communication protocols that could help different species understand each other better. Translation systems that preserve emotional and cultural context, not just literal meaning. Social frameworks that could help mixed species teams work more effectively. That sounds amazing. Why would anyone think that was dangerous? Because it challenges the way things have always been done, Maya said. And because if humans became known as the species that could help everyone else work together better, it would change the balance of power in the galaxy. Alex was beginning to understand. They were afraid that other species would become dependent on human mediation, or that other species would see humans as manipulative and untrustworthy. Either way, it would put humanity in a difficult position. Alex looked out at the stars again. But tonight proved that your ideas work. Everyone was excited about the possibilities you showed them. Maya nodded. Tonight was different. These were scientists and business people, not politicians. They care more about solving problems than about protecting their power. So, what happens now? Alex asked. You can't go back to serving coffee after what happened tonight. Everyone knows who you are now. Maya laughed, and this time there was real humor in it. I guess my cover is blown. The question is whether I'm ready to face the consequences of being Dr. Maya Brooks again. The next morning, Alex woke up in his quarters on the ship to find dozens of messages waiting for him. News of Maya's presentation had spread across the galaxy overnight. Every major news organization wanted to interview her. Several governments were asking questions about her background. The Galactic Science Council had called an emergency meeting to discuss her proposals. Alex found Maya in the ship's library, reading through official documents on a datapad. She looked tired but determined. The whole galaxy is talking about you, Alex said. Sitting down across from her, Maya looked up from her reading. I know. I've been getting messages all morning. The Terran Science Consortium wants to meet with me. The same people who destroyed my career 3 years ago now want to talk. What are you going to do? Before Maya could answer, Admiral Voss approached their table. The old man looked excited, which was unusual for someone known for his calm demeanor. Miss Brooks, or should I say Dr. Brooks, I have some interesting news for you. Maya set down her datapad. What kind of news? The Galactic Science Council has voted to offer you the position of Director of Interspecies Research. It's a new position they created specifically for you. You will be the first human to hold such a high-ranking position in the Council. Alex felt his mouth drop open. The Galactic Science Council was the most prestigious scientific organization in known space. Being offered a directorship was like being asked to become a galactic celebrity. Maya was quiet for a moment. What would the job involve? Leading research projects that involve multiple species working together. Exactly the kind of work you were doing before, but with official support from all the major governments. You would have access to the best scientists in the galaxy and unlimited funding. And the Terran Science Consortium would agree to this? Admiral Voss smiled. They don't have much choice. After last night, every species in the galaxy knows how valuable your work could be. If they try to block your appointment, they'll look like they're holding back scientific progress. Maya picked up her datapad again and scrolled through some documents. I've been reading about the political situation on Earth. The people who forced me out are still in power. Not all of them, Admiral Voss said. Things have changed since you've been gone. There are new people in charge who are more open to interspecies cooperation. They're the ones who recommended you for the council position. Alex watched Maya's face as she considered the offer. He could see her weighing the possibilities against the risks. There's something else, Admiral Voss continued. Captain Nexus has asked if you would consider working with the Ethereal Collective on a special project. They've never made such an offer to any biological species before. What kind of project? They want to explore the nature of consciousness itself. They believe that human intuition combined with their energy-based intelligence could lead to breakthrough discoveries about how minds work. Maya's eyes lit up with interest. Alex could see that the scientific possibilities excited her more than any amount of money or fame could. I would need guarantees, Maya said finally. Protection for my research, my brother, and my colleagues. I won't work in an environment where people can be hurt for political reasons. The Council is prepared to offer you full diplomatic immunity, Admiral Voss said. You will be protected by galactic law, not just human law. While Maya and Admiral Voss discussed the details of the offer, Alex found himself thinking about what this meant for him. Maya will become one of the most important people in the galaxy. She wouldn't need his 50,000 credits anymore, and she certainly wouldn't need to pretend to be his girlfriend. Their conversation was interrupted when Zareth approached the table. Alex's ex-girlfriend looked different than she had the night before, less confident, more thoughtful. Dr. Brooks, Zareth said, I wanted to apologize for my behavior last night. I didn't realize who you were, and I was dismissive. Maya smiled graciously. No apology necessary. You had no reason to know my background. Actually, I did some research after the gala ended. I should have recognized your name from your published papers. Your work on interspecies communication protocols was brilliant. Thank you. I always admired your engineering skills as well. Your mining innovations have helped a lot of colonies become self-sufficient. Zareth glanced at Alex, then back at Maya. I have a business proposition for you. Stellar Mining Corporation would like to fund some of your research. We're particularly interested in your ideas about combining human and alien technologies. Alex realized that Zareth was not just offering to fund Maya's research. She was trying to make a connection with someone who was about to become very powerful. The irony was not lost on him. Zareth had left him for someone more successful, and now she was trying to get close to his fake girlfriend. I appreciate the offer, Maya said, but I think I'll need to see what resources the Galactic Science Council provides before I make any commitments to private companies. After Zareth left, Alex and Maya sat in silence for a while. Finally, Alex spoke up. You don't need me anymore, he said. You're about to become the most important scientist in the galaxy. You could have anyone as a partner. Maya looked at him with surprise. Is that what you think? That this is just about what I need, isn't it? Yesterday you were serving coffee to pay for your brother's medical bills. Today you're being offered the job of a lifetime. Your whole world has changed. Maya reached across the table and took Alex's hand. My world changed the moment you asked me to be your fake date. Not because of the gala, but because you gave me a chance to be myself again. Alex felt confused. I don't understand. For 3 years, I've been hiding who I really am. I was afraid to let anyone see the real me because I thought they would either try to use me or try to destroy me again. But you saw something in me worth taking a chance on, even when you thought I was just a coffee shop worker. I was just desperate for a date. Maya laughed. Maybe, but you also treated me with respect. You didn't try to control what I said or did at the gala. You let me be myself, even when it became clear that I was more than you expected. Alex thought about the events of the past few days. Maya was right. He had been surprised by her knowledge and abilities, but he had never tried to stop her from showing them. What are you saying? Alex asked. I'm saying that I want you to be part of my new life, if you're interested. Not as someone who needs me, but as someone who chooses to be with. Ming. Alex looked into Maya's green eyes and saw something there that he had never seen before. Not just intelligence or kindness, but genuine affection for him. The job with the Galactic Science Council, Alex said. Will you take it? Yes, I think I will. But I have a condition of my own to add to their offer. What condition? Maya smiled. I want Carter Industries to be my industrial partner. Your company has the resources and reputation to help turn my research into practical applications. Plus, your CEO has already proven that he's good at finding hidden talent. Alex felt his heart racing. Maya was offering him more than just a romantic relationship. She was offering him a business partnership that could change both of their lives. Are you sure about this? Alex asked. Working together and being together? That's a lot of risk. Everything worthwhile involves risk, Maya said. The question is whether the potential rewards are worth it. Alex looked out the library window at the stars beyond. In the distance, he could see ships heading toward every corner of the galaxy, carrying news of the previous night's revelations. Maya was right. They were about to embark on something that could change the course of human civilization. Partners? Alex asked, squeezing Maya's hand. Partners, Maya agreed, as they sat together planning their future. Alex realized that what had started as a desperate attempt to impress his ex-girlfriend had turned into something much more valuable. He had found not just a romantic partner, but someone who could help him become the person he was meant to be. And Maya had found someone who valued her for who she was, not just for what she could do. Together, they were ready to show the galaxy what humans could accomplish when they worked together with courage, intelligence, and trust.